Hey guys, how's it going? Kriparian here. We have a new development with summoners in Diablo 4. Now, I did record a minion necro build centered around Golem, so if you have seen that video, that might not be the best minion build for Necromancer, but until you get a Ring of Mendeln, certainly is. Now, the difference is that when you get a Ring of Mendeln prior to Season 6, you would be very unhappy, big sad. But it seems like there are some differences from the PTR that have just been notified from Ace of Spades again. He's been really cool, helped me understand a few things, bounce back some information on the closed testing that we did. And today I can share that with you. So he let me know that Ring of Mendeln seems to be scaling with minion modifiers. Now, it was not doing that in the PTR, but it seems like it is. I also have a new development that I want to show you guys here in a second. I have the Golem aspect, which was based on player damage. Okay, so if I equip that and use the Golem skill, no damage occurs. So it's actually currently bugged. It used to be that it would be based on player damage. Right now it's doing no damage. So it looks like some of them are still bugged. Hopefully they're fixed. But you can see the Golem doing like 1,000 damage. And then when Ring of Mendeln procs, it hits for 26,000 damage. Now, if you were playing like a normal Necromancer build, this would kind of make sense because it would be based on player damage, so you're probably assuming that I'm playing a build that's stacking player damage. But in fact, I am not. I am playing a actual minion build, okay? I'm playing minions. Minion modifiers seem to work. So you can see a critting for 20,000, and then if I get like hulking monstrosity and it takes effect, it should hit for twice that. Oh my god. It's been like a year and like 3 months, and we finally have things that say that the minions do damage with scaling from minion damage. Oh my god. And if you can see, it is a lot of damage. 138,000. I'm fully invested in Golem, and its crits are about 11,000. So every time it's doing 11,000, it's going to hit for like 100. So this is a pretty big development, right? That's like a pretty sizable amount of damage. It's basically 200% more auto attack damage for a Golem. And if you're playing a Golem build, that's pretty decent. Because if you play like a Golem build based on the Golem button, you're actually still going to probably do more damage if you slot just a legendary ring with a normal aspect, right? Fair enough. But let's see what happens when we get a skeleton. So a skeleton's crit is like 900, right? But a skeleton's Mendeln proc is a lot. It's 11,000 without critting, guys. It's a lot. The crits are big because I'm using Grandfather, and I'll get into that in a second. So I did a little bit of math. Like you can see the white hit's doing like 300, and then when the Mendeln procs, it does, there you go, it's a 41,000. Okay, so auto attack versus proc, instead of it doing like the equivalent of about 10, 11 auto attacks, it's doing the equivalent of about, I don't know, 45 auto attacks. And again, this is on a raised scale. Now, why is that happening? Well, that's happening because minions do % damage based on the skill with their auto attacks. For Golem, it's like 80% weapon damage. For a raised skeleton, I don't know what it is. It's like 10, 17 or something, right? Now, it's doing less proc damage because, I have things like hulking monstrosities. So if I take that out, and I generally have like a little bit of golem damage in here, basically if I take out and equalize golem damage to skeleton warrior damage, the proc from Mendeln will actually be exactly the same, scaling from minion modifiers again. Why is it exactly the same? Because it's using my weapon damage for the proc, not their auto attack percent damage. So this means that minions that don't hit very hard with their auto attack, because it's a low damage percentage, hit for a tremendous amount of damage with Ring of Mendeln. So yeah, like if you're doing 6 attacks with this, and then you're doing 45 times on, a proc, that is a lot of damage. We're talking about like 700% more damage for the skeleton warriors. It's a little bit less for the skeleton mages. It's like 300%, but then you can play a minion build and actually sacrifice the golem, which is exactly what I did. If you guys want to check out my upcoming Mendeln build, you can do so on Mobalytics. Home of the Kripp builds. Let's just get the skeleton to stop attacking there, because we don't want the noise. Oh, that guy's committed, man. Okay, so Mendeln Summoner is back, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys want to check out this build, the written format, it will have a few more details when you check it out. Right now, this is a little bit on the down low. It's not even a published build right now, but it will be when you check it out. The link below. Just got to follow the embargo, got to follow the rules. So, we do sacrifice the golem. 35% damage multiplier if you have 100% crit. We do use the shadow mages that do 3% increased damage for each one that you have. You might think that, wait, why don't we use the extra attacks? Why don't we use the hit twice on the golem, like the golem build? None of that works. So I actually did do quite a bit of testing with Ring of Mendeln. The golem aspect, the chance for golem to hit twice, which does work on the golem cooldown, does not work on the Ring of Mendeln proc. So all the weapon modifiers just kind of suck. The extra attacks from mages don't count. It's just the base extra attack that counts. And for warriors, the skirmishers are the ones you want to use, because they do 30% increased damage. And normally they do like no damage, so 30% increased is whatever, but the 30% is a global multiplier, so it will actually apply to the Ring of Mendeln procs, and you can get an extra warrior, which is about as good as you can get it. Now, it does mean that your corpse generation is going to be absolutely abysmal, which is why we have to play a very different build. But if you look at some of these items, we are already playing a very different build. We're using the Grandfather. Why are we using the Grandfather? Well, as I mentioned, none of the tempers really do a lot for the weapon tempers, which is typically why you would use a legendary weapon. Now, with Mendeln, the Mendeln proc actually scales with the weapon damage. So you can see that if I equip like this 737 two-hander, which, it's quite a lot less damage, 6,000. If I put that in, it goes down to 5,000. Okay, so I think it's doing like, 800-900% weapon damage on a proc. That's basically how that item works, okay? The real reason why we're using Grandfather is because we want global damage, okay? Because Ring of Mendeln is doing the same damage roughly for the mages and the warriors, normally you'd stack one minion. You'd go like all mages, and then you get all mage damage. But we don't want to do that. We want damage with summons, okay? So if you look at the gear, it's offensive summoning damage, raw damage, because these are contributing about even. As well as, you guessed it, the Spirit Wolves. So Spirit Wolves, in my testing from the PTR, they are companions, technically, so they will actually scale with companion damage, and they will actually scale the Druid's companion shepherd's aspect. And they don't seem to scale with minion damage, at least on the PTR. But again, that was the PTR. I haven't fully tested this on this version. But I did test, and they do inherit like minion-related effects. So if you use Shade Mist, they will actually have a shadow aura around each of the wolves, and if you use Mendeln, they will proc Mendeln. And that is also a big reason why we're using generic damage, because I'm not sure if summoning damage will apply, but I believe minion damage will not. So they'll do a little bit less, but they're still doing a ton of damage, because you can get quite a lot of wolves through the rune system. I don't know if this is like the best rune, but this one's pretty cool. Your minions or companion kills an enemy and you can proc something quite a bit. 10 is not a lot, but if you're like speed clearing, this rune's actually really good. You might actually want to try to pair that with the wolves. There's a lot of really cool stuff you can do here. Frenzied Dead is category 2 attack speed, but it's still not really that much, because you can cap regular attack speed, so your minions start with their base like 100% of normal attack speed. You get 100% category 1 attack speed, largely through Kalan's Edict, which again is buffed. Okay, it is buffed. Kalan's Edict is also another reason why... Where am I going here? There we go. Another reason why we're going to Spirit Wolves, because your minions gain 3 attack speed and deal 3% multiplier for each minion, okay? I believe they scale that. So that's why we want as many minions as possible, as well as, you know, scaling the Mendeln effect. So we're also going to cap the category 1 attack speed. So we're like 200% attack speed. We have almost no category 2 attack speed. So Frenzied Dead giving 54%. We're going from 200% to like 254. So that is a 27% multiplier. Is a 27% damage multiplier good? Yes, it's good, but it's not better than any of the other ones. Grandfather is literally doubling the damage. The fact that we're using a faster weapon doesn't really matter, because the Ring of Mendeln scales with it. Reanimation is 45, and Great Feast is 45 as well. We want to put Great Feast on the amulet, because as I mentioned in the summoning, in the Golem Necro video, the aspect of the Great Feast only triggers when you have enough essence. So if we have 7 skirmishers and 5 mages, we're going to have 12 minions. So it's not going to take until we have 24 essence. And that might be a little bit annoying. It might be a little bit difficult to blight, but you should be able to easily curse still. And Soul Rift will regen over for the blight. It's a little bit of a scuffed setup, but this is how you just get the most damage out of it. And if you have at least 1 wolf, you will be able to blight. We use the pretty standard setups in basically everything else. I do want to give a shout out for one of the new armors. The new mythic armor that gives you stealth if you haven't attacked in 2 seconds is actually really, really good for this build. But I'm not sure that you can use it. If you use that armor, you're probably going to have to use defensive tempers for minion damage reduction on like all of your gear. I actually do have one on the amulet, so damage reduction for your minions. This is a new temper. It's a temper you kind of have to use, because we actually lost the damage reduction on the Paragon tree this season. Air Perdition does crazy damage and allows us to cap our crit, which is pretty useful, because we probably do need at least 1 more attack speed roll, and because we're using Skeleton Mages and Skeleton Warriors, and they're both doing significant damage, we actually need Skeleton Mage there, Skeleton Mage there, Skeleton Warrior there, so we need a few extra rolls, and it makes it a little bit tricky. But overall, that's the build, and I think it will be absolutely amazing. I think Mendeln will be the way to play Minion Necro. Now, you might be getting a little bit overhyped. I do want to just be straight with you guys. It's still Minion Necro. I think the Mendeln setup that I have here will probably like multiply Necromancer, like Minion Necromancer's damage by like 5 times. Oh my god, 5 times more damage in Season 6. Let's go, log in, right? Well, no, actually, Minion Necro is like the worst build in the game compared to like actual real builds. It's still like something that people might play. I kind of guessed that Minion Necro wouldn't make it past like pit level 75, maybe like 80. I don't know if you have a really powerful character, so you wouldn't even be able to level your own glyphs. So now we have this new thing happening. And, well, it might be a little bit different, but I kind of ballparked Companion Druid as doing like 5 times more damage than Necro. Now, I think Companion Druid will probably get to like pit 90, maybe like 95. The difference is that this type of Necromancer build is going to be a lot faster at like grinding pit, so it might actually be a case where Minion Necro is actually a little bit stronger than Companion Druid if you want to pick the best minion build next season. But I'll be straight with you guys, I do not think that this build will compete with like pure Bone Spirit for effectiveness. I don't think it'll compete for the Blood Wave or the Blood Spirit build that I also have a guide on Mobalytics for and a video for. So if you want to play like a really, really good build, you're probably still going to play like minions to level up, minions in the early parts of the end game, and you're still probably going to want to play another build. But the good news is that if you're a die-hard minion player, Blizzard has finally fixed the janky minion sourced damage mechanics. So that is pretty sweet, and I am thankful for that, but damn, that took a long time. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. We'll see you next time.